Good morning, all of you. We are discussing unit number 3, that is organizing of management fundamentals. So let's have a quick recap on last lecture, that what is in by organizing, the content, like nature and purpose of organizing structure, line and staff authority, departmentation, span of control, centralization and decentralization, delegation of authority, staffing, what is in by selection and recruitment, then career development, career stages, training, performance appraisal. So from first, like what is meant by organizing? What is the purpose of organizing? Here the meaning is organizing is the function of management which follows planning. So if planning is done accurate, the organization or the organizing team will be treated very good. It is a function in which the synchronization and combination of human, physical and financial resources takes place. All the three resources are important to get the results. Therefore, organizational function helps in achievement of results, which in fact is important for the functioning of concern. So, according to Chester Bernard, organizing is a function by which the concern is able to define the role positions, the jobs related, and the coordination between authority and responsibility. Hence, a manager always has to organize in order to get results. So there must be a coordination, there must be responsibility, authority, and a cooperation between the employees as well as manager. Then attention to detail, then the division of work, then common objectives of the organization, then shareholder responsibility, machine management. Then it is a dynamic process which should be followed in each and every organization. So this is the purpose of organizing. Then furthermore, the roles and responsibilities, then decision making roles, which helps the in organizing. So according to Kuntz and O'Donnell, organization involves organization involves the grouping of activities necessary to accomplish goals and plans. The assignment of these activities to appropriate department and the provision of authority, delegation, and coordination. So the organization involves division of work among various people whose efforts must be coordinated to achieve specific objectives and to implement predetermined strategies. Here, what is the nature or characteristics of organization? First is division of work, coordination, plurality of persons, common objectives, well-defined authority and responsibility, organization, structure of relationship. Organization is a machine of management. Organization is a universal process. Organization is a dynamic process. So we have discussed what is meant by what are the types of organization, that is formal and informal organization. How it is categorized, like what is formal. Here, like a system of consciously coordinated activities or forces of two or more persons. It refers to a structure of well-defined jobs, each bearing a definite measure of authority, responsibility, and accountability. Is called as formal organization. So, what it comes under the formal organization? It are able to communicate with each other, are willing to act, then share a purpose. Here, the employees have coordinated among each other. Their roles and responsibilities are divided. It must be flexible. Then, they are how the formal organization works. There is a division of labor, scalar and functional processes, structure and span of control. So, it comes all around formal organization. How the informal organization works. Informal organization is group or activity or sports activity or Friday evening meet or any other activities which doesn't have any responsibilities, authorities. Here, informal organization refers to the relationship between people in the organization. Personal attitudes, emotion, prejudices, likes, dislikes. An informal organization is an organization which is not established by any formal authority but arises from the personal and social relations of the people. Here, these relations are not developed according to the procedures and regulations laid down in the formal organization structure. Generally, large formal groups give rise to small informal or social groups. So, how the definition, how the division of work is to be done, or departmentation is to be done. So, it is according to the the function department, product departmentation, customer departmentation, geographic departmentation, process or product departmentation. So we have discussed in last lecture. We also discussed the matter departmentation. So what is meant by departmentation? Departmentation is the process of grouping of work activities into departments, divisions, and other homogeneous units. So what are the key factors of departmentation? First is it should facilitate control. Second is it should ensure proper coordination. It should take into consideration the benefits of specialization. It should not result in excess cost. It should give due consideration to human aspects. So the departmentation takes place in various patterns like departmentation by functions, departmentation by products, departmentation by customers, departmentation according to the geographic areas, departmentation with the help of process, and its combination, which is meant by matrix order. So first is classification of departmentation, the function departmentation, like enterprise function. Here, functional department is a process of grouping activities by functions performed. Activities can be grouped according to function to pursue economies of scale by placing employees with shared skills and knowledge into departments. For example, human resources, finance, production, marketing, sales, or any other function related to HR, finance, systems, IT. So the functional department can be used in all types of organization. Here, illustration of functional department. They have president, according to the vice president, general manager, or personal managers are there. So the functional departments are different, like marketing, engineering, production, finance, HR, systems, and accordingly. We have discussed also the advantages and disadvantages of functional department. Then second is departmentation by customer group. Here, the customer departmentation is a process of grouping activities on the basis of common customers or types of customers. Here we have discussed in last lecture the types of customers in according to the bank. So jobs may be grouped according to the type of customers served by the organization. The assumption is that customers in each department have a common set of problems and needs that can best be met by specialists. Here, UCO is one of the largest commercial banks of India. Is an example of company that uses customer departmentation. Its structure is based on various services, includes home loans, business loan, vehicle loan, educational loans. So according to the customer, the banks or the decides the loan types like community city bank, real estate loans, corporate banking, agricultural banking, institutional banking, and gold loans and various other banking departments. So this is the banking or the customer departmentation. Then we have discussed the advantages and disadvantages of customer departmentation. Then third is departmentation by territorial geography. Here, the geographic departmentation is a process of grouping activities on the basis of territory. If an organization customers are geographically dispersed, it can group jobs based on geography. For example, the organization structure of Coca-Cola Limited has reflected the company operation in various geographic areas such as Central North America Group, Western North America Group, Eastern North America Group, and various other regions. Here we have discussed the example of Pune area like Western region, Southwest region, Central region, Eastern region. So accordingly, the Central region have marketing team different, engineering team different, production team different, finance team is different. Then we have discussed the advantages and disadvantages of territorial or geographic departmentation. Then fourth is departmentation by product. Here product departmentation is a process of grouping activities by product line. Here tasks can also be grouped according to a specific product or service, thus placing all activities related to the product or service under one manager. Here each major product area in the corporation is under the authority of senior manager who is specialist in and is responsible for everything related to the product line. Here in last lecture we have discussed the example related to FMCG industry like cold drink division or milk division or potato chip division, snack division or any other departmentation according to that group. So they have various categories or make manager is different then the subordinate teams are different. So let's have a quick example of Dabur India Limited. The Dabur India Limited is the India's largest Ayurvedic medicine manufacturer. So according to that, so they have various categories like medicine and others. So they have different marketing managers, sales managers, different HR managers, different according to that. Then very most important is matrix organization. So it is a combination of product as well as the product and the various department like finance, HR, and marketing department. In actual practice, here the no single pattern of grouping activities applied in the organization structure because in various organizations there are various team members as well as managers who doesn't have responsible for any one activity. It is includes all the departments or the organization between employees as well as managers. So different bases are used in different segments of the enterprise. Their composite or matrix or hybrid method forms a common basis for classifying activities rather than one particular method. So one of the mixed forms of organization is referred to as matrix organization. So according to the situations, the patterns of organizing varies from case to case. The form of structure must reflect the tasks, goals, technology, with the organization type of people employed and the environmental conditions that it faces. It is not unusual to see firms that utilizes the function and project organization combination. The same is true for process and project as well as other combination. Here in last lecture we have discussed the matrix organization example like project A is there. It requires a design engineer, mechanical engineer, electrical engineer as well as metallurgical engineer. So it is a combination of all the departments within that so that the project can be completed within the given time period. Here what is meant by strategic business unit? The strategic business unit uh, have various departments like we have discussed like strategic business unit of India operations, strategic business unit of Japan operations, strategic business unit of South Korea or North Korean operations. So strategic business unit defines or designs the way of economy, the need of product in that country, or the departmentation, or the business categories like construction, finance, marketing, or electronics departments. So according to that, business manager categorizes the products into various departments and see the need of the customers in that country. So that the strategic business manager is appointed with the responsibility of guiding and promoting the product from research laboratory through product engineering, market research, production, packaging, marketing, and with bottom line responsibility for its profitability. So, organization structure for global economy. Here, the global economy, like any other company, like 3M or Thyssen Group, is there. So, according to that, the global economy or the global manager decides the products or the construction. Like Thyssen Group, is comes under the construction as well as power and thermal operations and various other machine categories. So the products are designed according to that global level, or the Japanese products are different, or Indian level products or machineries are different, or the construction needs are different. So according to that, the global environment differs. Here, operating organization structures differ greatly operating in global environments. Here, the kinds of structure like depends on variety of factors such as degree of orientation and commitment. So multinational companies choose a geographic departmentation combined with any of product or customer departments as per the need. Here what is meant by virtual organization. Here virtual organization is dividing of groups or cold calling or Zoom meeting of managers and employees will be treated as virtual organization. Here is last lecture we have discussed also empowerment. There is employees unions and other organizations as well as authorities of employees decides the employee problems and there is a mutual understanding between the managers or top level managers as well as employees. So employees at all levels in the organization are given the power to make decisions without asking their superior for permission. Here, decentralization of authority. So, what is meant by decentralization? Here, it is a process of transferring and assigning decision-making authority to lower levels of an organization. The span of control of top managers is relatively small, and there are relatively few tiers in the organization because there is more autonomy in lower ranks. Here, the tendency to whisper decision-making authority in our organization structure is also called a decentralization. The realization of delegation of authority. Here, it is a complete decentralization where authority is delegated, and there is a complete centralization where authority is not delegated. So, what are the kinds of centralization? Here, centralization of performance, centralization of department, centralization of management. So, what duties or delegation process need to be done? Here, the first is allocation of duties, second is granting of authority, third is assigning the roles or responsibilities and accountability, and fourth is creation of accountability. So, how the delegation of authority is to be done, like determining the results expected from the position, assigning tasks to a position, delegation of authority, and holding the person in that position. So in first response, that it determine the result expected from the position is the delegator first tries to define the task and duties to his subordinate. He also has to define the results expected from the subordinates. Clarity of duty as well as result expected has to be first step in the delegation. The second is assigning task to a position, like subdivision of authority takes place when the superior divides and shares his authority with the subordinate. It is for this reason here every subordinate should be given enough independence to carry the task given to him by his superiors. The managers at all levels delegate authority and power which is attached to their job positions. Here the subdivision of power is very important to get effective results. Then third step is delegation of authority to accomplish it. Here the delegation process does not end once powers are granted to the subordinates, where at the same time there is obligatory towards the duties assigned to them. Here, the responsibility is said to be the factor or obligation of an individual to carry out his duties in best of his ability as per the directions of superior. Therefore, it is that which gives effectiveness to authority. Where at the same time responsibility is absolute and can not be shifted. So authority it must accomplish it. Then fourth is holding the person in that position. Here accountability on the other hand, the obligation of the individual to carry out his duties as per the standard of performance. Therefore it is said that authority is delegated, responsibility is created, and accountability is imposed. Therefore it becomes important that with every authority position an equal and opposite responsibility should be attached. Therefore every manager, that is the delegator, has to follow a system to finish up the delegation process. Equally important is the delegate's role, which means his responsibility and accountability is attached with the authority over here. So these tips are need to be important for the delegation of authority. So what is meant by re-centralization? The re-centralization is a process of authority that was once re-centralization, normally not a complete reversal of decentralization, as the authority delegated is not wholly withdrawn. So what is meant by narrow span of organization? Here, the narrow span of organization comes with the help of. Here, the span of control means the number of subordinates that can be managed efficiently and effectively by superior in an organization. It suggests how the relations are designed between superior and subordinate in an organization. Here, there are advantages like close supervision, close control, fast communication. It comes under the narrow span of organization. Here, narrow span of control, it means a single manager or superior oversees few subordinates. Here, a single manager subordinates all the groups, like this is general manager is there or marketing manager is there. It comes with the area sales manager or district sales managers accordingly. After that, there are sales officers or another second category is sales officers. Then third category is salespersons. So the first person, that is a sales manager or general manager is there or marketing manager is there. It comes with the help of this gives rise to tall organization structure. Then second is wide span of organization. Here the wide span of control means a single manager or supervisor oversees a large number of subordinates. This gives rise to a flat organization structure. That means only one manager is there. With the help of that one manager, he is responsible for all the his employees. It's called as wide span of organization. Then next is staffing. What is meant by staffing? Here, staffing involves filling the positions needed in the organization structure by appointing competent and qualified persons for the job. The staffing process encompasses manpower planning, recruitment, selection, and training. It's called as staffing. It comes with the force requirements, inventorying the people available, which have specific experiences, then which can be available in that location. The language must be known. Then recruiting, selection, placing, promoting, appraising, planning the careers is also comes under the staffing. So what are the manpower requirements? Here manpower planning, which is also called as human resources planning, consists of putting the right number of people, right kind of people at the right place, right time, doing the right thing for which they are suited for the achievement of goals of the organization. It's called as manpower handling. The primary function of manpower planning is to analyze and evaluate the human resources available in the organization and to determine how to obtain the kinds of personnel needed to staff positions ranging from assembly line workers to chief executives. It's called as manpower recruitment. Second is what is in by recruitment. Here, recruitment is a process of finding and attempting to attract job candidates who are capable of effectively filling job vacancies. Your job description, job responsibilities, as well as job design specifications are important in the recruiting process because they specify the nature of the job and the qualifications required for the job. Then next is selection. Here, selection of suitable candidate can be a biggest challenge for any organization. The success of an organization largely depends on its staff. The selection of right candidate builds the foundation of any organization's success and helps in reducing turnover. Next is training and development, also called as placing. The training and development is planned effort to facilitate employee learning or job-related behaviors in order to improve employee performance. Here, experts sometimes distinguish between the terms training and development. Here, training denotes efforts to increase employee skills on present jobs, while development refers to efforts oriented towards improvement related to future jobs. Then next is after the candidate is selection, there is selection process. The selection process comes under various categories like there is aptitude test, then personality interview or HR interview there, then technical interviews there. After that the candidate is selected. Your selection process suitable candidate can be biggest challenge for any organization. The success of an organization largely depends on its staff. Here the selection of right candidate builds the foundation of any organization's success and helps in reducing turnovers. So how what comes under the selection process? First is a preliminary interview. It is used to eliminate those candidates who do not meet the minimum eligibility criteria laid down by the organization. The skills, academic and family background, competencies, and interests of the candidate are examined during preliminary interview. Here preliminary interviews are less formalized and planned than the final interviews. The candidates are given a brief about the company and the job profile. It is also examined how much the candidate knows about the company. Okay, the preliminary interview is also called as screening interviews. The next is personal interview. Here, most employee believes that personal interview is very important. It helps them in obtaining more information about the prospective employee. It also helps them in interacting with the candidate and judging his communication abilities, his ease of handling pressure. In some companies, the selection process comprises only of the interview. Then there are various references checks are there. Then their family, friends, or their numbers are also checked. Their behavior, their skills, as well as the former employee of any other company or previous company is also checked. The next is background verification is also checked. Here the background checks is a review of personal, commercial, criminal, or financial records. Here employees often perform background checks on employers or candidates for employment to confirm information given the job application, verify person's identity, or ensure that individual does not have a history of criminal activity. Then final is final interview. Here final interview is a process in which potential employee is evaluated by an employer for prospective employee in that organization. During this process, the employer hopes to determine whether or not the applicant is suitable for the job. Here, different types of tests are conducted to evaluate the capabilities of the applicant, his behavior, special qualities. So, various organizations also conduct the physical or medical examination. The next is planning the career. Here, the career development not only improves job performance but also brings about the growth of the personality. Individuals not only mature regarding their potential capacities but also become better individuals. So, what considers in development? First is knowledge, changing attitudes, increasing skills. Also check in the career development. The major objective of the development is managerial effectiveness through a planned and deliberate process of learning. This provides for a planned growth of managers to meet the future organization needs. Here, this is the illustration system approach to human resource management. Yes, stakeholder interests are there, or various managers also want to start a new business. So, stakeholder responsibility is to manage the employee as well as the general manager, or vice president also. So, general stakeholders management, employee groups are there, government, communities are there, which affects the stakeholders' interest according to that business. Then human resource management policies are various, like it influence the employee. Then employee welfare organizations are there, human resource flow is there, reward systems are there, or work systems are there, which helps the human resource manager takes the decisions regarding the employee retention policies as well as the employee engagement policies. So, what are the outcomes of human resource management? It is the commitment or the bond within a time period of 2 years, 3 years. Then it is a competence between the organization, or there is a competition, or there is a risk or threat for the organization that the employee will learn here for 2 to 3 years and go to the competitor organization. Then there is a cost effectiveness within the organization. Then there are various long-term consequences such as individual well-being, organizational effectiveness, societal well-being. So it all depends upon the situational factors like workforce characteristics, business strategy and conditions, management philosophy, labor market, unions, task technology, laws. So it all these are all the external factors which affect the organization. So what are the situational factors affecting the staffing? Yeah, the first is the actual process of staffing affected by many environmental factors such as internal environment factors as well as the external environment factors. So first is what is meant by external environment? What affects the external environment? Like the technology, the government norms, as well as the economy, the conditions, then the threats regarding the technology oriented. So the factors of external environment do affect staffing, influences grouped into educational, socio-cultural, legal, political, and economic contexts. So first is equal employment opportunity, then second is women in management, then third is diversity in workplace. This affects all the external environment. Second is internal environment. Then staffing manager positions from outside and within firm. So first is promotion from within. Second is promotion large corporations. Third is principle of open competition. Fourth is responsibility for staff. Your position requirement and job design or job responsibilities. Here an objective analysis of position requirements must be made. The job must be designed to meet organizational and as well as individual needs. So first thing, identifying job requirements. Second is appropriate scope of the job. Third is meeting managerial skill required by the job design. If job is like the job of like research analyst is there. So first is there are job requirements like what are the responsibilities of that research analyst, how the research analyst must be, or what the skills he needs to be, what are the educational qualifications of that he needs to be, then what is the appropriate scope of the job, then responsibility or requirements of that job responsibilities, then educational requirements, the knowledge or the persistence will be checked in that interview process or will be checked accordingly in the various tests. Then meeting manager skills required by the job design. So what is meant by job design? Here requires an appropriate job structure in terms of content, function, and relationships. Your skills and personal characteristics needed in managers, analytical and problem solving abilities, that is skills. So what are the personal characteristics like desire to manage, communication skills and empathy, integrity and honesty, past performance as a manager. So the next is recruitment stage. Here attracting candidates to fill positions in the organization structure is also called as recruitment. Here, recruitment is a process of finding and attempting to attract job candidates who are capable of effectively filling job vacancies. Your job descriptions and job specifications are important in the recruitment process because they specify the nature of job and the qualifications required by the job candidates. Here, the selection process also explains various recruitments like selection process establishes a criteria like filling of application form, a screening interview, formal interview, background checks and verification, physical or medical examination. So the selection process is suitable for the candidate can be the biggest challenge for any organization. The success of an organization largely depends on its staff. The selection of the right candidate builds the foundation of any organization success and helps in reducing turnover. So first criteria is like filling the application form. Here the candidate who passes the preliminary interview and is found to be eligible for the job is asked to fill a formal application form. Such a form is designed in such a way that it records the personal as well as professional details of the candidate, such as age, qualification, reason for leaving previous job, experiences, etc. Then second is screening interview. Here the screening interview is the initial interview of any employee selection process. Any initial screening eliminates unqualified applicants and helps save time, where applications received from various sources are scrutinized and relevant ones are discarded. It is called as screening interview. Then next is formal interview or personal interview. Here, formal interviews help the candidate who passes the preliminary interview and is found to be eligible for the job is asked to fill in a formal application form. Such a form is designed in such a way that it records the personal as well as professional details of the candidate, such as age, qualifications, reasons for leaving previous job, experiences, etc. The next is background checks and verifications. Here, the background check is a review of personal, commercial, criminal, as well as financial records. Here, employers often perform background checks on employees or candidates for employment to confirm information given in the job application, verify a person's identity, or ensure that the individual does not have a history of criminal activity that could be an issue upon the applicants. The next is physical examination or medical examination. If all does good or the manager selects the employee, the next stage is physical or medical examination. Here it is conducted to make sure that the candidate has sound health and does not suffer from any serious alignment. So this is the selection process of employee. Here are the interviews, the traditional common method used for the interview, structured interview, semi-structured interview as well as unstructured interview. It improves the selection is to conduct the multiple interviews utilizing different interviewers, like interview, an aspect of the selection process. So what are the tests to be taken before the interview? The primary aim of testing is to obtain data about applicant that help predict their probable success as a manager. So first is intelligence test. It is designed to measure mental capability and to test memory, speed of thought and ability to see relationship in a complex situations. Then second is proficiency in aptitude test. It is constructed to discover interest, existing skills, and potential for acquiring skills. Then third is vocational test. It is designed to indicate a candidate's most suitable occupation or the area in which candidate's interests match the organization interest area. Then fourth is personality test. It is designed to reveal a candidate's personal characteristics and the way the candidate may interact with the others, thereby giving a measure of leadership potential. So the assessment. Here the assessment tells assessment is not a location or the test center. It is a technique for selecting and promoting managers. It is intended to measure how a potential manager will act in typical manager situations. It also measures and promotes managerial skills. The selection process or the limitations in selection process are diverse selection process available, no one perfect way to select managers. Its experience shows that even carefully chosen, the selection criteria are still imperfect. It is a psychological testing. There are various limitations in psychology testing. Then some tests unfairly discriminate against women or members of minority group. Then fifth is selecting or hiring at time or cost involved. Here, next is orienting and socializing new employees. Here, selecting for the best person for job. First step in effective management team is orientation. It involves the introduction of new employees to the enterprise, its function, tasks, and people. Here, company provide details on history, product, services, general policies and practices, organizational details and benefits, as well as safety and regulatory measures. The orientation meeting provides new employee with an opportunity to ask questions. Socialization. Here, acquisition of work skills and abilities and adoption of appropriate role behaviors and adjustment to the norms and values of the work group is called as socialization. Here, the orientation and socialization reduces the employee's anxiety on uncertainty. Next is performance appraisal. What is the meaning of performance appraisal? It is a process of obtaining, analyzing, and recording information about the relative worth of an employee. The focus of performance appraisal is measuring and improving the actual performance of the employee and also the future potential of the employee. Its aim is to measure what an employee does, how the employee does, or the what the previous or future orientation of that employee. Objective of the performance appraisal. There are various objectives like to review the performance of the employee over a given period of time. Second is to judge the gap between the actual and desired performance. Third is to help the management in exercising organizational control. It also helps to strengthen the relationship and communication between superiors, subordinates, and management employees. To diagnose the strength and weakness of an individual so as to identify the training and development needs of the future. To promote the feedback of employees regarding their past performance. It comes all under the performance appraisal. So what comes choosing the performance criteria? Like various performance criteria are there, like number system is there, or the grid points are there, or the managerial personal questions are there, or the again there is an interview, or there are various tests for the going to the next level in that organization. So first is the performance in accomplishing goals, like system of appraising against variable prescripted goals. Second is consistent, integrated, and understood planning design to reach specific objectives. The second is performance as a manager. The system of measuring performance against pre-established objectives should be supplemented by an appraisal of the manager as a manager. Different views like subjective versus objective, like essay type appraisal. There is a describe how what the works to be done in last year or within a period of 5 years is called as essay type appraisal, or what should be future in that organization. Then second is rating scale, like where do you complete or where do you see within a period of lifespan of 5 years. Then there is rating scale between 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. It is also called as quantitative measurement. Here judging versus self-appraisal. Here manager judge the performance of coordinates or employees or subordinates. Here employees gives to approach him says on the criteria. Then third is accessing past performance versus future development. One should learn from the past mistakes and translate these insights into development plans of for the future. So what are the kinds of reviews? It should be conducted at least once a year, but some people suggest that such discussion takes place more frequently, like within a period of 3 years or 3 months or 6 months. Progress of periodic reviews. Here, formal comprehensive review should be supplemented by frequent progress or periodic reviews. It helps identify problems or barriers that hinder effective performance. Then third is continuous monitoring of performance. If plan deviate from standards, should not wait or act actively. Like there is a daily worksheet is there in various organizations, or daily performance sheet is there, or daily task sheet is there. So the employee needs to fill that daily task sheet so that the task files are completed within a time span of 3 months or 6 months or yearly, so that only the diary or the daily task diaries should be checked by the managers. So it is a continuous monitoring of performance. There's trends of appraisal against verified objectives. Here appraisals based on performance, the goals accomplished or not will be known. And third is reasonable and expected target may be set by the company and the individual. So what are the weaknesses of appraisal against verified objectives? Like first is uncertainty in performance of an individual, difficult to take uncontrollable or unexpected factors into account, outstanding performance rated highly as long as they perform, goal attainment in short term. Here appraising manager as a manager. Here the most appropriate standard to appraise managers as a manager is fundamental of management. Managers are rated how well they perform the activities. The scale from 0 to 5 to further reduce the subjectivity and to increase the discrimination between the performance levels, like incident examples given to support rating, comprehensive annual appraisal. The rating to be reviewed by the superior. It raters inform about the discrimination rating. So what are the advantages of the program? Here the first is effective tool to measure, tool for management development. The second is weakness of the program, like applies applies only to manage aspects of the position, time consuming process. So what are the career stages? Here there are various career stages. Like the career stages refers to the stages of career development that an individual passes through 5 stages. Basically, it undergoes during his lifetime. Four distinct career stages have been identified: trial, establishment, mid-career, and late career. Here each stage represents different career needs and interests of the individual. So the first is trial stage, second is establishment stage, third is mid stage or career development stage, and fourth is maintenance stage, and fifth is late career stage. Here first is trial stage, also called as exploration stage. The establishment or advancement stage tends to occur between the age between 25 to 45. In this stage, the individual has made his or her career choice and is concerned with achievement, performance, and advancement. This stage is marked by high employee productivity and career growth, as the individual is motivated to succeed in the organization and in his or her chosen occupation. Here, opportunities for job challenge and use of special competencies are designed in this stage. The employee strives for creativity and innovation through a new job assignments. Employees also need a certain degree of autonomy in this stage so that they can experience feeling of individual achievement and personal issues. The next is establishment. Here in this stage, the manager or the organization needs his opportunity or the opportunity job challenges or the manager takes responsibility for the development of employee. Here the opportunities for job challenge and use of special competencies are designed in this stage. The employee strives for creativity and innovation through a new job assignments. The next is mid-career. Here the period occurring between the mid-30s and mid-40s, during which people often make a major reassessment of their progress related to their original career ambitions and goals. The next is late career stage. Here, in late career stage, in this stage, the career lessons is important, and the employee plans for retirement and seeks to develop a sense of identity outside the work environment. So these are all the stages of career development, like exploration, establishment, maintenance, and decline. So formulating a career strategy. It is a preparation of personal profile, development of long-range personal and professional goals, analysis of environment, threats and opportunities, analysis of personal strengths and weaknesses, development of short-range career objectives and action plans, consistency testing and strategic choices, development of short-range career objective and action plans, development of contingency plans, implementation of career plan, and monitoring of progress. So let's discuss about the training methods. What are the training, on the job training, off the job training? What is meant by training? Here, the training is a process of learning a sequence of programmed behavior. It improves the employee's performance on the current job and prepares them for the intended job. So the training, what is meant by training, the purpose of training, how the manager training is important. Here, the to improve productivity. Here, training leads to increased operational productivity and increased company profit. To improve quality, that is, it is a better trained workers are less likely to make operational mistakes. To improve the organizational climate, here training leads to improved production and product quality, which enhances financial incentives. This in turn increases the overall morale of the organization. The next is to increase health and safety. Here, proper training prevents industrial accidents. The last is personal growth. Here, training gives employee a wider awareness and enlarged skills base, and that leads to enhanced personal growth. So there are present skills as well as future skills, which to be future skills need to be defined or designed in the training period. So what are the training methods? First is on-the-job training and second is off-the-job training. In an on-the-job training occurs when the worker picks up skills which working alongside experienced worker at their place of work. For example, this could be at the actual assembly line or offices where the employee works. Is called as on-the-job training. Here off-the-job training is it occurs when workers are taken away from their place of work to be trained. This makes takes place at training agency or local college, although many larger firms also have their own training centers. Here approaches to manager development as plan progression. It gives a clear idea about the plan of development of the employee as well as the superior or coordinates or subordinates managers. The second is job rotation. It is intended to broaden the knowledge of managers or potential managers in different enterprise functions. So if the job is to be done by various employee, like the job of machine shop is there or various shops or lathe machines are there, so that lathe machines manager or lathe machine worker to be shifted in various other machinery so that the job is rotated and the all workers and managers should learn various stages or various new progresses in the job rotation. The third is creation of assistant to position. These are often created to broaden the viewpoints of trainings with through working closely with experienced managers. Then fourth is temporary promotions. Here to acting manager is used to cover the responsibilities of the acting manager, absent manager. Then fifth is committees and junior boards. It is also known as multiple management. It gives trainees the opportunity to interact with experienced managers. Sixth is coaching. It must be done in a climate of confidence and trust with the aim of developing a subordinate strength and overcoming weaknesses. So what is to be done in the training? Like it is a conference programs. Like managers also explains or trains in various conference programs. It exposes managers or potential managers to the ideas of speakers who are expert in their field. The second is university management programs. Like it exposes managers to theories, principles, and new development in management. Third is in-house universities. Companies set up their own training institutions. Readings, television, video instructions, and online education, business simulation and experience exercises, e-training, special training programs. So, what is the evaluation of training programs? Like the performance appraisal or the purpose of the training. The development objective includes it increases the knowledge, it increases the productivity of the employee, it acquire new skills, implement of management performance, achievement of enterprise objectives. The learning organization. Here are the organization that can adapt to changes in external environment through continuous renewal of the structure and practices. There are five techniques like system thinking, personal thinking, mental models, a shared vision, team learning. So these are all the turning organization or the purpose of training as well as training methods. So in this lecture we have discussed the training as well as performance appraisal and the selection of the job design. So we have completed our third unit of management fundamentals, that is in by organizing. We have discussed the nature and purpose of organizing, organization structure, line and staff authority, departmentation, span of control, centralization and decentralization, delegation of authority, staffing, selection and recruitment, career development, career stages training, and performance appraisal. So in this lecture, we have discussed the various concepts regarding the organization, organizing. In next lecture, we are going to discuss the next unit, that is by directing, unit number 4, directing. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much all.